Like and subscribe right now, or this will be in your bed tonight. Hello and welcome back to ProRevenge. Before we start, please scroll down and click the like and subscribe button. This means that you will get more videos from me. It really helps me out and will make my day. All you have to do is click like and subscribe. Thanks. You slept with my GF. Better watch your back. TLDR at bottom. Full disclosure, this isn't my story. It happened to a friend of mine who lives in USA a long time ago, so dialogue isn't exact. He gave me permission to post it on Reddit. For ease of writing, I'll write it as if it happened to me. Due to the nature of the story, some details have been changed. Cast me friend. Karen me's GF had a drug addiction, but was clean for 2 years. Important for later. Jill business owner. Jake old friend. HOLE of the story. I live with my GF Karen and my old grade school friend Jake, who was working as a sales rep. We live on the outskirts of a well-known city in the States. I was in my late 20s. I found myself looking for work as a bar I was working at closed down. Knowing I was desperate for work, Jake calls me and tells me his new GF Jill just purchased a motel/bar with a small kitchen, and she is after hired help. Needless to say, I jump at the opportunity as Karen wasn't working, the bills were piling up, and out health insurance was due. I called Jill, arranged to meet her at her new property to introduce myself. Jake made the introductions in person and had already told Jill I was hands-on DIY person with hospitality experience. Now to explain, my dad is a Sparky and believes if you can pay someone to fix something, you could probably do it cheaper yourself. He taught me lots and still does to this day. After a 30-minute chat, Jill tested me with a few odd jobs like rewiring an outlet, fixing a clogged sink, and quizzed me on liquor laws. Needless to say, I was hired that day. Originally, work was all about getting the property ready for business. Jill thought it would have been minor works, paint, replacement of fixings and furniture. We soon found out the electrical wires were short. The whole place needed rewiring, which was a cause of stress for Jill as it would have blown her budget. Lucky for Jill, my dad was between contracts and offered his services using leftover stock already paid for from other jobs. Jill would need to cover the cost of any new product required. As for labor, his payment, he said he enjoys a steak and beer on Friday nights. After 3 weeks of helping Dad, the wiring was done, was up to code, and at a fraction of the cost. Jill and I spent 1 to 2 months painting all 15 motel rooms, bistro, bar, cleaning the kitchen, cool rooms, etc. Jake would offer to help, but always left after 20 minutes saying he has to make a sale. Jill often worked well into the night. After all, this was her dream. I'd take some furniture home to restore after hours and return it once restored. Business opened up after 6 months, and thanks to Dad, opened under budget. Jill managed the business and ran the kitchen. I worked where I was needed. In the kitchen, on the bar, tending to maintenance. I was on salary, second in charge, and could work in any position. Things went smoothly for a year. Business was turning a profit. Dad was getting his weekly beer and steak. Karen seemed happy. Jake was still working as a sales rep for a pharmaceutical company. One day I felt crook at work, so I clocked off and went home early. Pulling into my driveway, with the exception of a turning gut, things felt normal. Jake's car was there, but he lived there, so I didn't think anything was wrong. As usual, I parked behind Jake. Important for later. When I opened the door, I found Karen doing the reverse cowgirl with Jake on the couch. After seeing me, Jake grabbed his pants and ran out through the back door. Karen and I argued into the night. She tried blaming me, saying I'm never home, I'm spending too much time with Jill. We were keeping things professional. I was her employee. I went to bed and told her she can sleep in Jake's bed as she clearly finds it more comfortable. I called Jill and informed her of this as Jake was her boyfriend. She was upset as he cheated on her, but admitted she suspected he was seeing someone else. Jill offered me a room at the motel until I figure out my next move. The next day I loaded my personal effects in the truck. Jake's car was still there as I had blocked it in. I told Karen she can keep the rental and the furniture. I said Karen I'd be back for my tools in a few hours and I would appreciate if she wasn't there. I went home that afternoon to load my tools into my truck. While I was grabbing something from under my workbench, I found a bag I wasn't familiar with. Upon closer inspection, I found in a large quantity little tablets. The way they were packed and hidden made me realize they were probably ecstasy. A thorough search of the house led to me finding 2 more bags and about 12k in cash. I put 2 and 2 together and realized that Jake's pharmaceutical sales job was code for drug dealer, and Jake probably traded pills to Karen for sex. I was beyond angry until I realized that I have all I need to get him back. The revenge. Jake's car still hadn't moved. I went inside and grabbed his spare keys, chucked on a pair of gloves that were in the garage. I put half the money and 1 bag of drugs in his boot and thought, hang on, this won't pass. I removed his spare tire from the wheel well and put the bag in there. The other 2 bags, I threw them down the storm drain in the laneway behind my house. As for the 6k cash, Jake did cost me a house full of furniture. Just saying. I sent a message to both Jake and Karen with the typical hurt script. I can't believe you did this. We were friends blah blah blah. I've left, I hope you two are happy together. I then made an anonymous tip to the local police and ATF about a man fitting Jake's description, loading what looks like drugs into the boot of a car that sounded Jake's car, and provided a partial number plate number that matched Jake's car. It didn't take long for law enforcement to find the car and locate the drugs. What I wasn't counting on is Karen was driving the car at the time. She was later released when they found out she was driving the wrong car at the wrong time. A warrant went out for Jake's arrest. The icing on the cake. I found out later that not only was the police after Jake, his supplier was as well, as he lost a lot of product. Fast forward 3 months, I purchased a house. I was still working with Jill. Karen was pregnant with Jake's baby and he was on the run. I suspected she was keeping contact with Jake because she suddenly left the district when she was 8 months pregnant. 12 months after the incident, after a drunken night, Jill and I mixed business with pleasure and started dating. That was 10 years ago. We are married, have 2 children and just opened our 3rd business. Dad still gets his weekly steak and beer. I did hear a rumor that Jake and Karen wound up in Alaska, but can't confirm this. I do feel a little bad about it now because Jake made it possible for me to date Jill and live a wonderful life. I do hope he is well. TLDR, best friend sleeps with my girlfriend friend. He now has police and drug gangs chasing him. Edit. My friend clarified why his dad did such a good deal for the electrical work. Apparently he had a large contract cancelled due to bankruptcy after the contract paid a sizable non-refundable deposit, which he uses for supplies. Basically he had the materials already on hand and a few weeks suddenly freed up. A++ gentleman. You fire me for talking about unionizing. I'll spill all your dirty secrets. This is a bit of a long one. Please bear with me to the end. I used to work for a plasma collection center back from 2008 to 2010. Even though I was a certified phlebotomist, I was placed up in reception and I slowly worked my way up to senior receptionist and trainer. I was also training for quality control and was known for keeping detailed notes of issues that were in need of fixing/training, which I would forward on to management. Some of the things I'd keep track of were violations of FDA and GAP, German Health Authority, since we were run by a German/Swiss company, as well as OSHA issues. Because I wasn't seeing anything being done, I eventually stopped reporting the issues to avoid being labeled a troublemaker and just kept time/date info, and if I could I got pictures with date stamps just to cover my own ass in case something bad went down. Fast forward to June of 2010, and I was talking with one of my coworkers about the proposed cuts to benefits and the high turnover rate at our center. They were complaining to me about being afraid to call in sick because others had been fired for it, and I mentioned that they were putting donors in danger by us being sick, since we weren't allowed to wear face masks unless we were in the back in the donor area, and even then it was the clear face shields to prevent getting hit if someone leaked on us. Without thinking about it, I talked about how unions protected against this sort of thing in other medical fields, and how that might be something we should consider to help protect us. The coworker got weirdly quiet, but I figured it was because I was talking about a subject most people don't like talking about. Nothing really happened until about August, when another coworker grabbed my ponytail while I was working with a donor and yanked down on it, jerking my head back. I'd informed everyone I worked with to never touch my hair because it was a trauma trigger for me from being abused, and so this coworker knew I would wind up in panic mode from this. She'd seen it happen before when a donor touched my hair, so this was deliberate. I remember telling her to not do that again or I would make her get away. She of course walked up and yanked my hair even harder, and I hit her. The supervisors went into damage control mode as I fled the area, still in a panic response, and one of them cornered me and demanded I write down what happened because I had assaulted someone on the property. I wrote my side as well as told them to check security footage, since the camera was aimed right at the booth I was working at and had clear view of the events. Turned out everyone else told an entirely different and creepily similar story than what I told, and the footage couldn't be found. Even though less than half an hour had passed, I was fired for assault less than an hour later and escorted off the premises after being given 5 minutes to clear out my locker and get my belongings. So on to the revenge, which was two-pronged. My partner was there on that day and saw what happened and tried to offer to write up what he saw, but was denied. So the next time he went in, he wound up being screened by the coworker who yanked my hair, who didn't even get a write-up for assaulting me and asked her loudly enough that the whole reception area could hear. So how's those 50 shekels of silver, Judas? Was it worth it? Which left her in tears and another person had to finish screening him. He wound up being banned for 6 months for his attitude, but he claims it was more than worth it. While this was going on, I had been reaching out to the various organizations and departments that oversaw plasma donation and collection, the FDA, OSHA, CDC, GAP, and the like. I informed them of the fact that we always cleaned prior to an inspection, but we didn't keep things that clean day to day, and suggested a surprise inspection should be in order. I also handed over copies of everything I'd collected and tried to report, but always got shut down. I learned a few months later that all of the management and several of the other techs and supervisors were all suddenly reassigned, and the FDA, GAP, and OSHA had all slammed fines on the center for violations dating back almost the whole time I worked there. TL, doctor, don't fuck with the person who keeps meticulous notes and has nothing left to lose. Eater to answer a few questions. This is a US located center. The company was started in Switzerland, is reviewed by the German Health Authority, and was then bought out by an Australian company, but runs centers in the US. The company is also very anti-union. A receptionist at a plasma center is way different than a receptionist at a typical office. We are responsible for donor intake, donor screenings, including minor blood collection, checking levels such as hematocrit and protein, and verifying donor eligibility on top of things such as keeping donor files up to date/cleaned up if they are too big, making a new file, quality control, and assisting in areas where needed such as the donor floral processing. And that's on top of filing and answering phones when able. I was upfront with my bosses and coworkers about my PTSD and triggers due to past experience with trying to hide them and it turning out badly outside of work. Yes, my partner's comment was more petty than anything else. And for those wondering the meaning behind it, he was saying she sold out someone she claimed was a friend for a reward of some sort. Thank you all for watching to the end of the video. But before you go, please like and subscribe for more. Not many of you at all that watch are subscribed or like the video, and this makes me unsure if I should continue to make more content or not. So if you want more content, please like and subscribe. If you don't want to miss out on any future videos, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button. Also, please give me some feedback in the comments section about what I can do better, because not many people comment on my videos, so I have no idea of people's opinions of thoughts about this YouTube channel. So yeah, that's all from me. If you have subscribed and liked the video, please consider sharing the video with your friends. Thanks and bye. I'm still doing daily uploads, so hope to see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.